Good morning, Boston. Okay, a lot to talk about today. We are going to get into the resignation of Rachel Rollins later in the show. I promise. Yeah, baby. Huh? Okay, so, look, there's some good news. Believe me. But before I get to Rachel Rollins and maybe even Supreme Court packing, the Democrats now are going for it. One of the big stories, it broke late last night. Now, I just want to clarify, nothing official has come from Fox News, so we're still going to wait. But it does appear, according to the Drudge Report, according to Politico, according to multiple other media outlets, that a decision now has been made at Fox that they are going to move Hannity from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m. In other words, Hannity now will take over permanently Tucker Carlson's coveted 8 p.m. primetime slot. Also, and again, apparently not a final decision, but it appears now they want to move Jesse Waters to 9, and they want to move Greg Gutfeld down to 10. They're claiming it's their boldest, most powerful lineup ever. This is the way they're spinning it among media circles. So it will be Hannity, Waters, Gutfeld, and I don't know what they're going to do with Laura Ingraham. Apparently some of her semi-regulars on her show and her friends are already complaining that Laura's being thrown under the bus. I don't know exactly what that means because we don't know what's happened. But the key decision, it appears now, is that Fox News is now going to stake everything on Hannity. And as many of you know, we are winning. Peaceful protest works. You look at Bud Light. Sales have collapsed, down 26%. Anheuser-Busch is hemorrhaging. Stock value, share value, revenue. In fact, now in many places, I kid you not, you can buy a case of Bud Light for $19.98, and they're giving you a $20 rebate. Well, as everyone's saying, you're giving me $20 to buy Bud Light, and it costs $19.98. You're practically now giving it away for free. You're giving it away for free. And people still don't want it. That's how bad the backlash has been ever since they made their decision to go with Dylan Mulvaney, a transgender influencer, as essentially the face and branding ambassador of Bud Light. Well, Fox News is now becoming the Bud Light of cable television. Their ratings have cratered. It is now so bad that between the 8 and 9 p.m. slot, they have lost, listen to this, 2/3, 67% of all of their viewers. 2/3 gone. Gone. Overall, Fox's audience has been slashed in half. In half. And if you look at the key demos, 25 to 54, that's what the advertisers look at in particular. It is a bloodbath. 7 o'clock hour, 8 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock hour, it doesn't matter. 11 o'clock hour, from Bread Bear all the way on. In other words, their entire evening lineup, 49%, down 60%. Down 77%, down 70%. It is a beating right across the board. They are bleeding money, bleeding viewers, bleeding audience share. It is now so bad. MS Left BC is beating Fox in the entire primetime lineup. CNN's ratings, you want to talk about a complete collapse. CNN now has fallen to number 4 during prime time. Newsmax now beats CNN. And if Fox is not careful, Newsmax now is starting to breathe down their neck, and Newsmax may eventually eclipse Fox News. So, in a desperate bid to try to stabilize the bleeding, stabilize the decline, and to try to revive Fox News from clearly the disastrous decision from a strictly business, marketing, revenue point of view. There's no question about it. The decision to get rid of Tucker Carlson, one of the worst decisions in the history of cable news. Murdoch should be ashamed of himself. His degenerate liberal sons, Lachlan in particular, but both of them, should be ashamed of themselves. The top executives at Fox should hand in their letters of resignation on the spot if they had any honor. Because the decision to get rid of Fox News has now imploded the Fox News audience, and it's imploded the Fox brand. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm done with Fox. I don't care who they put on at 8 o'clock. I will not watch Fox again. Period. I've turned the page. I'm done. However, the head honchos at Fox believe that there is a way out, that they can claw back some of this audience, regain their number one position, at a minimize, staunch the hemorrhaging, staunch the bleeding of support, the bleeding of viewership, to stabilize things. They say Hannity is the man. And the reason they believe Hannity can do it, I'm just giving you their point of view. He is now the longest host ever on the history of cable news, surpassing Larry King. So they say he's been around a long time. He's a veteran. He's an old hand. They believe he has a following, that he's trusted among both the establishment and among conservatives, and that in particular, Hannity is aggressive enough to go after and bring back some of these Tucker viewers that have now left Fox News. That he can get an interview with Trump if he needs to. He can get an interview with DeSantis if he needs to. He can get an interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene or with Lindsey Graham. So he's the kind of guy that can appeal to both the establishment and to the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, and that they believe he has the built-in trust, the built-in credibility to bring back many disenchanted viewers. This is their reasoning. This is their logic. Now, let me give you my honest opinion, and I want to hear from you, Kuhner Country. 617-266-6868. As a very good friend of mine put it to me in a text yesterday, the Murdochs at Fox, they're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's all this is. To me, you can put Hannity at 8, or Jesse Waters at 8, or Laura Ingraham at 8, or whoever you want to put in at 8. I really don't care. They have lost the trust of their viewers. And trust is something that is very difficult to gain. But once you lose it, it's gone. It's gone. And they have been exposed for the phonies and the frauds that they are. They're not conservative. They don't give a damn about their audience. They certainly aren't fair and balanced. And they don't give a damn about the truth. Because if they cared about honest, real journalism and the truth, they never would have gotten rid of Tucker Carlson. So, you can put lipstick on a pig all you want. It's still a pig. Sean Hannity, frankly, no offense, but I'm just going to call it the way I see it, is boring. He doesn't have the charisma, frankly, to carry the primetime coveted 8 o'clock slot. He's not in Tucker's league in terms of the quality of his monologues. He's often repetitious. He's a bore. He cuts people off. He says the same thing ad nauseum over and over and over again. And I don't know who can listen to this guy, to be honest, or watch this guy for more than 10, 15 minutes. The bigger problem is he is a neoconservative. He is an establishment Republican pretending to be a conservative and has been for decades. And the difference between him and Tucker Carlson is night and day. Who supports Big Pharma? Hannity. Who supports the disastrous globalist war in Ukraine? Hannity. Every step of the way, when push comes to shove, he will side with the rhinos. He may talk the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. And so when I look at someone like Sean Hannity, yes, he's a good company man. He's a yes man. But in the end, if it comes down to a choice between his check and the truth, he always sides with Rupert Murdoch and management at Fox. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I want to open it up to you, Kuhner Country, the incredible audience. This is now breaking last night. Sean Hannity, it appears, I'm just going by multiple media reports. Nothing is official yet, but it appears now they've made their decision. Hannity will be the successor to Tucker Carlson at the coveted, the anchor position for primetime, the 8 p.m. slot. My question to you, will you watch Fox now if you stopped watching? Will he bring you back? Is he the man to bring you back to Fox? Can he revive Fox's plummeting, declining audience and ratings? Or are you still done with Fox News? I'm just curious. 617-266-6868, and he's all about the check. The reason why he survived at Fox News for as long as he has is because he toes the company line. He does what the Murdochs tell him to do. And maybe that's why they want him on at 8 o'clock. So my question to you, can Hannity revive Fox? And will you now watch Fox again? Or like me, are you done with Fox News? Hannity is not the solution. In fact, if anything, he may be the problem or one of the problems. 617-266-6868. Let's go to Jim in the great state of Florida. Thanks for holding, Jim, and welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing good. Here's my take on Sean Candidate. That would be a good name for him. To me, it's just controlled opposition, and the differentiator is definitely Ukraine. He will not go against that. If anything, he'll pump it. That's why they would put him in the 8 o'clock position, because if that cranks up, that's ratings, wars ratings, and he's a big pumper of that. And I want to point out one thing about you, and this you might not agree with me on this, but I liked Rush, but to be honest, he reminds me a little of Hannity. I burned out on him when we had the war in the Middle East, and he had no opposition to Bush. It was just boom, boom, and whereas you have the guts. You remind me more of Michael Savage, more of an independent conservative voice, and Hannity reminds me more. I mean, Rush was more talented, but he didn't have the guts to break against Bush on that war. I supported it in the beginning too, but think of where we are now, 20 some years later, and all this manipulation and the things you've been talking about the last couple of days, and it's controlled opposition to me. That's why I say I got a new name for you, Sean Candidate.
Well, Jim, I got to say, I love the phrase. I think you're dead on. I think you've pegged him to a T. He's controlled opposition, and they want a warmonger at 8 o'clock, and he is a warmonger. There's no question about it. He's in bed with the war hawks. He's all in on that war in Ukraine. If anything, his criticism of Biden is He's not doing enough to take this fight to Russia. He wants to send cruise missiles. He wants to send impose a no-fly zone. He wants to even maybe unleash NATO forces and have NATO have an all-out war against Russia. So it's obvious. Murdoch needs a war hawk. He needs a warmonger. That's his man. Now, between you and me, Jim, they don't realize where their audience is, but more importantly, they don't realize where the country is. We have an invasion. It's on our southern border. So why are we concerned about Ukraine's borders, thousands of miles away? Let the Ukrainians take care of their borders. We've got to take care of our own. Jim, thank you so much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. No, this is what he doesn't get. I mean, I'm talking about Murdoch. He has destroyed Fox. Look, Roger Ailes' widow, okay, the late Roger Ailes' wife, came out with a devastating tweet saying, it took my husband, i.e. Roger Ailes, 20 years to build up Fox News into a real powerhouse. And ever since he passed away, on 6 years under both Murdoch the father and then especially the two kids, they have driven it into the ground. And this is part of driving it into the ground. They never should have taken Tucker off the air. But my God, this is the guy you come up with as his replacement? Are you serious? The biggest yes man in the entire company? The face of the Republican establishment? The face of Bush Republicanism? Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Frankly, I'm not saying they would have succeeded in replacing Tucker. Don't get me wrong. But even Waters or Gutfeld would have been better. I'm not saying they would have been a great replacement, but even they would have been better. 617-266-6868. Okay, according now to multiple media reports, Fox executives, Murdoch, the father in particular, says there is a man to save Fox News. That is Sean Hannity. So apparently now Hannity, they're going to reshuffle their entire primetime lineup. It looks like Waters, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld are going to get coveted spots. But the big one, Sean Hannity will move to 8 o'clock. He will anchor primetime, take over Tucker's coveted position. My question to you, will you watch Fox? Will he bring you back? And is he the man to restore and revive Fox? 617-266-6868 is the number. Or is this thing over? And as my friend put it yesterday, they're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Will you now watch Fox? Lou in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Lou, and welcome.
Yeah, how you doing, Jeff?
Hi.
I liked your opening today when when the Durham report came out earlier in the week. You got a lot of calls saying, "Oh, what good is it going to do?" et cetera, et cetera. But I'm looking at like an unusual streak of winning we've been having lately, starting with the CNN Trump triumphant appearance on CNN last week, which was devastating to the left and even devastating to the mainstream media. And then you mentioned Bud Light, of course. And then along with that came the Comer report. And on top of that was the Durham report. I mean, which we're
and Rachel Rollins. I mean, Lou, Rachel Rollins being forced to resign one step ahead of the sheriff closing in on her.
That is the cherry on top of the sundae. But with the Durham thing, even Jake Tapper had to do a mea culpa with that, and it was and I have to wait. You guys, this got me sidetracked just for 1 second. I saw Tom Cotton on the Senate. He had a short blur of him basically bawling out his Senate colleagues, the Democrats, for even voting for Rachel Rollins and putting her in. As a matter of fact, it took Kamala Harris to put her over, and he just went over her entire record and what his warning was back at that time. It's wonderful. If you can ever get a hold of it, it's really worth playing because it was devastating because it now puts the focus on things like these Soros DAs and all the crime that they allow and all the criminals they support, and that's a issue coming up, along with the issue of the border and along with the issue of inflation. I mean, the Republicans have their issues all laid out for them. But let me just get to the Fox thing. First of all, Liz Wheeler came out. I saw her very early this morning when I got up. She had a report with James O'Keefe where he's cornered a Fox producer, and he said that the Tucker firing was actually a unwritten verbal agreement between Fox and Dominion to fire Tucker. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I hope Tucker sues Dominion for getting him fired, and that would be great to see. But I think when it comes to the Fox News lineup, Hannity's not. He's too much of a company man, and everybody knows it, just like your last caller said. And also, the most bold of the bunch is either Gutfeld or Jesse Waters, and those are the ones you should stick at 8 o'clock if you want to regain even a smidgen of what your audience is. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to Ukraine and when it comes to January 6th, they're all under control with that stuff over there. Will any of them put out the remaining footage of January 6th? Heck no. Will anyone ever come out and then really criticize Ukraine or bring on RFK Jr. again? I don't know if they let them talk about Ukraine or maybe even the drug industry. I don't know. I don't think they will. I think he was right. They're controlled opposition, but on certain issues, they all have to band together with the swamp. And doesn't look good. And especially when Schumer told him to get rid of Tucker and tell him to curtail what he had to say about January 6th, that made me even more suspicious. So if they're going to be controlled by Schumer, the drug industries, I think independent news, and if Tucker creates a lineup over there on Twitter, that's going to be devastating because CNN and mainstream media are already destroyed by the Trump appearance last week and also by the Durham report. So I think there's a lot of openings now for independent media.
Oh, Lou, I completely agree. I completely agree. Really perceptive call, Lou. Lou, thank you very much for that call. No, I think he's right. I think the Durham report has really smashed the credibility of much of the media. They don't want to admit it. They're not giving back the Pulitzers. But, you look on social media, it is everywhere. Give back the Pulitzers. So I don't think they understand now how much their credibility, legitimacy, trust is in the tank. And so people are craving independent voices, real, authentic voices who are not afraid to speak the truth. And so, look, again, we've already made the point, but on Big Pharma, Hannity toes the line. On Ukraine and the globalist war against Russia, man, does he toe the line. So you go down on January 6th, he toes the line. So he's safe opposition. He's controlled opposition. He only goes as far as Murdoch allows him to go. He's like a dog on a leash. And look, he goes on about, I'm a conservative. No, you're a company man. And ultimately, your loyalty is to your check. That's all. It's to your bank account. And that's how he survived over. Look, when Bush was in power, he's a Bushy. When Trump was in power, he's a Trump. It doesn't matter. Whoever Republican is in power at the moment or powerful at the moment, that's where he is. That's all. Ultimately, he goes where the wind blows. And he does the bidding of his paymasters, the Murdochs. Now, I don't think Fox understands what a turnoff that is to most viewers. They just want someone who has the strength of their convictions, who's willing to call it as they see it. And that's not him. So if he's got a credibility problem, you think he's going to be the answer to Fox? And replacing Tucker? No way. No way. I can just speak from me and Grace, because I asked Grace last night. I said, hey, sweetheart, it's breaking right now. Looks like they're going to go with Sean Hannity. Hannity's going to be the permanent successor replacement for Tucker Carlson. She goes, it won't work. I said, why? She goes, because they've lost all trust with the audience and nobody trusts Sean Hannity. So he's just another establishment shill. That's not going to solve anything. And then, to be honest, I look at the rest of the lineup and I'm like, why should I even bother watching Fox? It's now become, for all intents and purposes, the Rhino Network. So why should I? I don't care what Lindsey Graham has to say. I don't. Or what Mitch McConnell, or what Mitt Romney, or what Liz Cheney, or what the Chris Sununu, that little Judas up in New Hampshire, or with the buffet man, Chris Christie. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of these guys. It's the same garbage over and over and over again. So, yeah, if you want a yes man, he's your guy. If you want someone who's willing to speak the truth and push the envelope and call things as they are, he's no Tucker Carlson. 6-1. Look, if they had any business sense, they would get on the phone with Tucker and say, can we get you back? Can we try to put this, the toothpaste back or put the genie back in the bottle? Can we put the toothpaste back in the in the toothpaste container here? Can we do that? Because that's the only way out for them. Now, mark my words. You're going to think I'm crazy when I say this. If Fox is not careful, they're going to be eclipsed by Newsmax. I remember in the 1990s, up until September 11, CNN was the number one cable news network in America. What made Fox was 9/11. People forget that. The attacks of September 11 really boosted Fox's popularity. That's when they overcame CNN. And everybody thought that was impossible. And then eventually MSNBC overcame CNN. Well, if, Fox is starting to look a lot like CNN of the 1990s. They looked invincible. And before you know it, someone's eating their lunch. They're number 2 now to MSNBC. If they're not careful, they can fall to number 3. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I want to ask all of you, is Sean Hannity the savior of Fox? They now are going to put him in Tucker's slot. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, the ground now is moving beneath our feet in the wake of the Durham report. Absolutely devastating now for the corrupt corporate media. They were all exposed as propagandists and liars, pushing the Russia collusion hoax, knowing it was all a pack of lies. Now there's even more fallout from all of this, and clearly now the American people, in poll after poll, it shows they do not trust the establishment media. That includes, by the way, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, it doesn't matter, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, it goes across the board. The so-called legacy media is now clearly under siege. People see it now for what they are. They're not journalists, but they are activists masquerading as journalists. Well, Obama now is riding to the rescue. And what he is now warning the American people in the wake of the devastating Durham report, we must go back to the good old days when the media set the entire narrative. Forget conservative talk radio. Forget independent voices like Jeff Kuhner or Tucker Carlson, or run down the list. We don't want news sites that report the truth. No. We must all agree to a common set of facts and a common narrative. This is what we used to have. Now we can't control the message. And I, the dear leader, will not stand for it. Listen now to Barack Obama in an interview with CBS. He's asked point blank, what keeps you up at night? My show and shows like mine are what keep him up at night. I swear to you. Roll cut 22. Mike.
The thing that I'm most worried about is the degree to which we've now have a divided conversation, in part because we have a divided media, right? So I'm much older than you, Nate.
You don't look it, though.
That's what I was fishing for. But when I was coming up, you had 3 TV stations.
Yeah.
And people were getting a similar sense of what is true and what isn't, what was real and what was not. Today, what I'm most concerned about is the fact that because of the splintering of the media, we almost occupy different realities. If something happens, in the past, everybody could say, all right, we may disagree on how to solve it, but at least we all agree that, yeah, that's an issue. Now, people will say, well, that didn't happen, or I don't believe that.
Oh, see, look what he's saying. It's a chilling admission. What he's saying is there are opposing points of view. This is, what he's clamoring for. Again, the Democrats are really exposing themselves for who they are. They are authoritarian thugs. Hey, under the Soviet Union, and I made this point yesterday, but it bears repeating, under Pravda and Izvestia, yeah, there was a common set of facts. They all occupied, quote, the same reality, unquote. In totalitarian regimes, yeah, the media, you get one narrative. That's what the media gives you nonstop. And he's like, oh, I can't believe it now. You have different points of view. We can't have that. In other words, we told you support the war in Ukraine. Shut up. We told you Trump-Russia collusion. Shut up. So don't oppose us. That's the problem. And look, bringing it back to Tucker Carlson, that was his big sin. That's why they got rid of him. Who are we kidding? He showed the footage of January 6th. So it exposed, there was no armed insurrection. The pictures, the video, they don't lie. But what he's saying is you can't have an opposing point of view. You can't speak the truth. You can't puncture that veil of propaganda that they keep trying to impose on us day after day after day after day. So that's why they fear an independent media. That's why they fear all of these news sites, talk radio, shows like the Kuhner Report, because we dare to challenge them and expose their lies. And that's why the Durham Report now, they're trying to discredit and bury it. Because one of the biggest was Russia collusion. And now we know it was 1,000% poppycock. It was 1,000% garbage. Everything what they said was disinformatio. Now turns out to be 100% true. That's what the dear leader is afraid of. That's what he doesn't want. And frankly, that's the problem, not just with Fox, with the entire corporate media. They're in the lying business. They're not in the journalism business. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. David in Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you? A little technical difficulties. My call got dropped, but I'm back.
All right, David, you're on the air. Go ahead, my friend.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you? Hey, listen, Jeff, just a quick question. When Michael Savage was on and he was referring to the leprechaun at Fox, was that Hannity or O'Reilly or both of them?
It was O'Reilly. He called Hannity was the wall banger because Hannity did construction for a while. So he called Hannity the wall banger and the leprechaun was O'Reilly.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to clear that up because where they were both Irish, I got a little confused there. But hey, Jeff, listen. No matter what Fox does, the minute that they got rid of Tucker was their demise, buddy. I mean, I keep seeing that poll on Newsmax. Should they put Tucker in prime time? Yeah, but what about Newsmax at 8 o'clock? I mean, all their shows, even at 8, it's good. I mean, or maybe he can tag up with somebody. I mean, Rob Schmidt comes on, that sets the table. And then I forget who's on at 8 o'clock on Newsmax, but wouldn't that be taking a little bit from them? And then as far as Laura, Jeff, I mean, I want something pretty to look at Fox when I do watch them. I mean, she's a very pretty lady, and she's a good conservative.
Well, I'm hearing reports. I think that she's been axed, I think from prime time. I don't think she's been axed from the network. But it looks like it's going to be again, I'm just going by what media reports are saying. No final press release has been given out. But apparently it's going to be Hannity 8, Waters 9, Gutfeld 10. Well, she's on at 10. So I don't know if they're going to move her to 7. I mean, I don't know exactly, or they'll push her back to 11. But apparently they've axed her from prime time. So they're going to go apparently with, this is what they believe is going to bring back Fox. They say this is going to be the best lineup. This is the way they're spinning it. The best lineup in the history of Fox News. Hannity 8, Waters 9, Gutfeld 10. What say you, Dave?
Like I just said, I don't mean to steal my own thunder or yours, but when they got rid of Tucker, that's when Fox sealed their demise. I hate to say it. You know what I mean, Jeff? I mean,
in other words, this won't bring him back, right, Dave, as far as you're concerned?
I not only will not bring them back, it's their demise, Jeff. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be kicked off the airwaves, but I mean, Fox ain't going to be Fox without good conservatives like Tucker. I mean, Sean, face it, when he calls rhinos a rhino, he's looking in the mirror without even knowing it, Jeff. You know, I mean, I liked Hannity when it was Hannity and Combs, remember in the 90s?
Yes.
When Fox first came out? That's when Hannity was at his height, when the Republicans took back the House in 94 and 96, you know, when we actually had Newt Gingrich and then Hastert took over that. You want to talk about a rhino, Jeff? That's a rhino's rhino. It's Denny Hastert. He's a Mitt Romney, Kerry Healy rhino, going back to Muffy Healy, the old lieutenant governor from Massachusetts. That's a rhino, Jeff.
Dave, you're dead on. I wish I could disagree with you, but I can't. You're dead on. Dave, thank you very much for that call. Look, again, I spoke to Grace last night, and I said, you know, she told me, you know, it's going to be a bust. She goes, look, they'll have about 1 million viewers. She goes, I believe there are enough people out there who want to watch essentially a Republican establishment network, a rhino network, with a few conservative voices or conservative-leaning voices thrown in, and they'll get their 1 million, maybe 1.5 million, 1.5 million. But the days of Fox getting 3, 4, 5 million, as they did under Tucker and even O'Reilly in his best days, that's gone. That's gone. Their audience has been cut in half. And look, I can just go by what I'm getting from the text line and from the emails. No one is saying this is a good move. Not one. It's unheard of. Not one. I mean, in fact, honestly, I won't debate you, I promise. I just want to hear from you. Does anybody support this move? Does anybody think this is good, that this will bring you back to Fox and rebuild and re-energize Fox, its brand, and its ratings? Seriously, I'll put you on right away. 617-266-6868 is the number. It's almost 100-0. So this, look, this could be the end of Fox. If they're not careful, they could go all the way down. 617-266-6868. And really, I do believe that the future is going to be the show. Already our ratings are through the roof, knock on wood. And shows like this, Tucker on Twitter, doing his own thing on an independent platform, to me, the exact opposite of what Obama just said in that clip I played. The future is more independence, more conflicting points of view, to give people a real alternative, to the lies, the dissemination, the propaganda from the corrupt corporate media. It's not more corporate media, it's less corporate media. And they're going the way of the dinosaur. They're dying right in front of our eyes. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree? Chuck in Danvers. Thanks for holding, Chuck, and welcome.
Jeff, you are the greatest. You know that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck.
Hey, Jeff, one thing that really disturbed me is Hannity was great on the Perkins Coie stuff and the Hillary Clinton coverage, but when it came to firing Lou Dobbs, where was he? Where was his loyalty?
Oh, that's a great point.
You are the greatest, and thank you for what you do.
God bless you. Thank you, Chuck. 617-266-6868 is the number. Ben in Marblehead. Thanks for holding, Ben, and welcome.
Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure, Ben.
I only have one short comment, and it really baffles me that for years the mainstream media has been known as a propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, that we license them. That's the part of it. There's got to be some way to bring all this back to the truth rather than nothing but lies from a business that we licensed to peddle to us. And that's all I've got to say.
Interesting. Ben, thank you for that call. You know, I got to say, again, referring to my conversation with Grace yesterday, but this was over lunch. This wasn't over dinner. So she went on about, she talked about the ratings and how MSNBC is eclipsing and destroying Fox now. And they're beating him in prime time, but they're even beating him throughout the entire day. Long story short, do you know what the ratings of MSNBC are now? Now, they're number one now. About 1.7 million viewers. Okay, give or take 100,000 here, 100,000 there. 1.7 million. Now, how does 1.7 million have such a major influence on a country of over 330 million? 1.7 million. In streaming numbers, people who listen to us around the country, this show gets about 2 to 3 million. This show. You have some major podcasts out there that get 15, 20 million subscribers. Now, they may not listen to every podcast, maybe 2 or 3 a week, but still, it's 15 to 20 million subscribers. So you've got podcasts. You've got talk radio shows that have a much bigger audience than, let's say, 1.7 million, which is now the leading outlet, cable news outlet, which is MSNBC. And so the point I made to Grace was, I know, but this is where their power lies, is that when they have someone on or they make a point or an argument or attack someone, that clip is then picked up on the internet, on social media, and then replayed again and again and again. So it has like a ricochet effect. But if we just ignored them, if we didn't give them the importance that they crave, 1.7 million in a nation of 330 million is a drop in the bucket. So all I'm just trying to tell you is if you look at the numbers, the media's numbers, it's not just CNN that's collapsing. Even MSNBC, yes, they're leading at 1.7 mil, but they used to have much higher numbers than 1.7 mil. So it's not just Fox that's declining. It's CNN, it's MSNBC, it's CBS, ABC, NBC, the nightly news, subscriptions, New York Times, Washington Post, all of them, way down. So Americans are tuning them out by greater and greater numbers. That's why they're panicking. That's why you have the dear leaders saying, oh, this is what keeps me up at night. Yeah, because you can't control the message. You used to completely dominate and control the flow of news and information. Now, shows like this, independent journalists, other podcasts, whatever, the new media is now taking over. And you can't stand it because you can't control us and you can't control this audience. So I look at the fragmentation, the splintering of the media, not as a bad thing. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to this country. It's real democracy. The more voices, the more opposing points of view, the more alternative points of view, the better. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Do you no longer trust, quote unquote, the media? Really, propaganda. Do you no longer trust the corporate media? And maybe that's the ultimate problem now. By firing Tucker, Fox exposed themselves as just another corporate media outlet. No different from all the others. 617-266-6868. Aaron in Canton. Thanks for holding, Aaron, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm just curious, what is Fox's motivation of taking Tucker off? Because he was my favorite one to watch, especially when he got people to come on his show to debate them, because he just smoked them every single time. Like, what was their motivation?
Well, it wasn't ratings, and it wasn't listening to their audience. They got rid of him essentially for three things. One, Schumer threatened them after he exposed the lies of January 6th. When he played that unedited footage of Jacob Chansley walking around the halls of the Senate, being greeted by police officers, that they even escorted him to the Senate building, to the Senate itself, then he blew up that narrative. And Rupert Murdoch lost his mind. He opposed the war in Ukraine. He was the most prominent anti-war voice in the entire media. And the globalists, and for Murdoch, who's a big warmonger, that was unforgivable. And then really, I think the one that probably sealed his doom is when he got RFK Jr. on, and he blew the lid on Big Pharma. And for Murdoch, that was strike one, strike two, strike three. So, you see, they got rid of him because he went up against their agenda. And that's what the firing of Tucker showed. They want to impose an agenda. They don't care about the truth. They don't even respect what their audience wants to hear or see. Because he was right about Ukraine. He was right about January 6th. So they got rid of him for saying the truth. That's why they got rid of him, Aaron.
Curious, but just since you were talking about Ukraine, why are we in Ukraine? How does that benefit us?
It doesn't. It benefits the military-industrial complex. It benefits those that have, it benefits the Bidens and our corrupt politicians who have been laundering money and making money on Ukraine. But you, me, the country, it doesn't. And that's one of the things Tucker exposed on a regular basis. And that's why, Aaron, they had to get rid of him. Aaron, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, news broke late last night. I'm just going by what several media outlets have been reporting. They're citing sources within Fox. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but it looks like Murdoch and his sons have made a decision. They want Sean Hannity to be the permanent successor or replacement to Tucker Carlson. They believe he is the man to bring Fox News back. They also are going to have a new lineup. They're going to reshuffle the entire primetime lineup. Jesse Waters at 9. That's what it looks like. And Greg Gutfeld at 10. They're spinning it as the bravest, boldest, best primetime lineup in the history of Fox. My question to you, are they just rearranging the chairs on the Titanic, or will this bring you back? Will you now watch Fox? And do you think this is a good move? 617-266-6868. Eddie in East Boston. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Hello, Kuhner. I don't know why anybody had spent time watching Fox News, because there's never been news on Fox. They were fortunate to get Tucker, a person of apparent integrity, but I lost complete faith in Fox News when they got rid of Married with Children, the best show that they ever had. They got rid of that. So once that happened, I knew Fox News wasn't serious about anything. And anybody else who had spent their time watching Fox News, well, you got what you deserve.
So, Eddie, you don't think this is going to fix anything then?
At all. Fox News has been a sunk ship for a long time. The fortunate thing that keeps them afloat is The Simpsons. And then when The Simpsons does have a good show with a good commentary about life and politics, that show never gets repeated. So Fox News is garbage.
Eddie, thank you very much for that call. I think he's confusing Fox Entertainment and Fox News, but they're under the same umbrella. But that's Fox is the entertainment channel, and you're right. They did have Married with Children, The Simpsons. Fox News is their cable news outlet. But hey, who can tell the difference between the two? Really, it's so much and infotainment on Fox News. It really is. So, car chases, tornadoes, homes on fire, whatever. Sensational crimes and mysteries. And so a lot of it is really just entertainment passing as news. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree? John in Lowell. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
I think I've earned it. In the words of me, listen, how do 1.7 million viewers generate enough money through advertising to pay for anchors who make tens of millions of dollars each, Jeff? They don't.
That's a very good question.
Where does the money come from, Jeff? Can you say CIA? Black budget? Sure you can.
Well, that's a great point. No, really, how does 1.7 million justify 20, 25, $30 million salaries?
It doesn't. It can't. Fuzzy math, Jeff. Fuzzy math.
John, what do you make of this huge new change in the lineup, this reshuffling? Is it going to bring you back, John? Do you think it's going to bring other people back?
Watch paint dry. Haven't bothered in years because I knew years ago, Jeff.
Is there anything on TV that you watch, John? I'm just curious in terms of news information.
Yeah, Jeff, I watch my blank TV that sits on my bureau because I haven't turned it on in years because I know better. Jeff, I hate to say it, but once again, my mother was right. Get away from the boob tube.
John, thank you very much for that call. How much time left, Mike? Okay, quick reset. I want to go right back to the phone lines. They're jammed. 617-266-6868. Okay, is Hannity the man to resurrect Fox News? He now will take over Tucker's primetime slot. Will he get you back? And above all, Obama says too many different points of view in the media. Do you believe we have too many different points of view or not enough points of view? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, we're going to continue to take your calls. However, another huge, huge story. And as one of the callers earlier said, there's been a lot of good news lately. I'm not saying it's over, far from it, but now we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. You had a disastrous CNN town hall. You have now the implosion of the mainstream media, especially in the wake of the Durham report. And now Rachel Rollins, effectively this Friday, when she tenders her resignation, is gone as U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts. Rollins is a Soros-backed, pro-criminal, far left-wing ideologue. And as I've been jousting with her, debating with her, she would call the show on numerous occasions. She and I went at it now over the last couple of years, as I've been trying to warn people again and again. It's not just that she's a nut job, that she's ideologically on the far, far, far left, or that she's pro-criminal or anti-American. But I said this from the beginning. She's got a screw loose, a serious screw loose. She believes that the rules do not apply to her, that she can break laws, violate regulations, destroy norms, treat people any way she wants to treat them. And she's entitled because she sees herself as a victim. And so she believes she's entitled to do whatever it is that she wants and to treat everybody around her like a piece of trash. Well, now it finally caught up to her. So yesterday, you want to talk about another bombshell report off of the Durham report. The Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Justice issued a scathing report. In fact, every media outlet practically on the planet, and this story has gone national, says they've never seen an Inspector General's report this harsh on anyone. I mean, they eviscerated Rachel Rollins. And so here is now what the report found. Rachel Rollins is going to be resigning effectively this Friday. She is going to tender her resignation, yeah, baby, to Joe Biden Friday. Why? Because she has to now stay one step ahead of the sheriff. The Inspector General's report yesterday showed that Rachel Rollins last summer, as the U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, showed up at a partisan Biden fundraiser in government plates. Literally drove up in a car with freaking government plates and attended a fundraiser in her official capacity as the U.S. Attorney, which is a naked, explicit violation of the Hatch Act. If you're a federal employee of the DOJ, but especially a U.S. attorney, i.e. a prosecutor, you must in all public activities be perceived as neutral. You cannot go to partisan events. You can't go to fundraisers. You can't do anything like that. She shows up not only in a private car, in her government plate car. And of course, there are reporters. And right away, when they saw this, they couldn't believe it. They're like, they even confronted her and they said, you're violating the Hatch Act. Like, you're breaking the law. She couldn't care less. So they took pictures of her. They took pictures of her car, her government plate. She went in, spent several hours at the fundraiser. Then when confronted about it later, she lied. But then it got even worse because this automatically triggered an investigation. Her goose was cooked from that moment on. But as they dug deeper and they expanded the investigation, listen to what else they found. She lied under oath. when the Office of Inspector General asked her numerous questions, according to the report, the report's conclusions, not mine, she repeatedly lied under oath. She committed perjury. Furthermore, she also illegally interfered in the Democratic primary campaign for Suffolk District Attorney, who would be her successor, which is against the law. She gave campaign advice to the candidate that she really supported, another Soros-backed pro-criminal ideologue, Ricardo Arroyo.
So I just want to start by saying that I find all of this incredibly sad. I haven't read the report, so I can't actually speak on any of the details.
But did you exchange text messages with to her? Did you exchange text messages with her?
I've talked to Rachel a number of times. About your campaign? About everything. I've talked to her about life, I've talked to her about family, I've talked to her about the campaign.
Well, they talked a lot about the campaign, which is illegal. And that's Arroyo, by the way, that we just played. Now, again, that's a crime. In fact, the accusations came out of sexual harassment against him. She was trying to give him advice on how to deal with the sexual harassment allegations. But then she went even further. She tried to frame his rival, Kevin Hayden, as someone who was being investigated by the Department of Justice for public corruption. So she tried to, listen to this, coerce her first assistant into putting out a bogus letter that the Department of Justice was about to investigate and maybe indict Hayden for public corruption, even though it was a lie. And then when her first assistant wouldn't do it, she then leaked sensitive Department of Justice information illegally to the Boston Globe and to the Herald. The Herald did not run with it. The Globe did, to smear Hayden, claiming, oh, the DOJ, oh, they want him. They want him. They're going to investigate him. He's corrupt as they come. We're going to get him. According to the report, listen to this. What she did was so outrageous, so unethical, so illegal, that they couldn't believe any employee of the Justice Department would behave like this, never mind a U.S. attorney. That her behavior was shocking to the extreme. That's why she has to hand in her effective resignation on Friday, because if she doesn't, she may go to jail. She's now trying to avoid jail by resigning. I want you to listen now to Senator Tom Cotton. What did I tell you about her? You. She's crazy. She's crazy. And by the way, before I get to Tom Cotton, amazingly, after this explosive, scathing Office of Inspector General's report that she broke the law, behaved unethically, violated regulation after regulation, that she lied under oath, committed numerous crimes, Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, and those two recommended Rachel Rollins. Instead of saying, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa, we were wrong. No. All three of them came out and said, "Way back, Rachel. She's a good left-winger. She cares for the community." They still back her. Even after she's been forced to resign, even after the Office of Inspector General documented all of this abuse of power, scandalous, illegal, criminal behavior. And this is a U.S. attorney, man. The top federal prosecutor from Massachusetts. And they're saying, we have her back. We support her. Listen now to Senator Tom Cotton. He was opposed to her from the beginning. And he said, I told Joe Biden, I told Markey, I told Warren, I told that fake Indian, I told all of them, don't put her nomination forward. She is a loose cannon. She is someone you have no idea is so unstable, so unpredictable, so unethical. She will blow up in your face. And blow up in everyone's face. She did. I don't have time to play the cut now. I'm going to play it on the other side. My question to you. A, what do you make of the resignation, or to be more technical, it's coming on Friday, the coming resignation of Rachel Rollins as U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts? A major Soros-backed DA goes down. And should she go to jail? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this story is unbelievable. This is like out of a novel or a movie, really. Psycho prosecutor starring Rachel Rollins. I mean, she got 30 free Celtics tickets. 30. This is what the Inspector General's report reveals. She was strong-arming people to give her free Boston Celtics tickets. Lavish travel. Anything. I want to fly here. I want to fly there. You're going to pay for it, okay? Or else I'm going to come after you. I'm the U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts. I mean, it was ethical violation, crime, scandal, abuse of power. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, there's no fine. There's no punishment. She's not going to jail. She's not being charged with anything. I mean, I get it. She's resigning her position, but geez, if you or I did any of this, lie under oath, oh my, abuse our power, violate the Hatch Act, break federal law after federal law, openly and intimidate people, you and I would be in jail. I want you to listen now to Senator Tom Cotton. He says, we Republicans are completely vindicated. We warned you Democrats. We warned Biden. We warned Markey and Warren. All of you. You nominate her. You confirm her. You're dancing with the devil. Roll cut 36, Mike.
Over 18 months ago, my colleagues and I warned that Rollins was unfit to serve as a U.S. attorney. My Democrat colleagues refused to listen, and every single one voted to confirm her nomination on a party line vote. It was the first time in 28 years that we'd held a roll call vote. This vote was a rare case, of course, but Rollins was uniquely unqualified.
You think? You think? Now, listen to this. Saying, we knew she was trouble just from her ideological worldview. What she said she wanted to do as a prosecutor was all the red flags you needed to know. Listen now to Cotton saying, my God, do you have any idea what she wants to do, what she believes in? Roll cut 37. Mike.
We deadlocked on her nomination. We also voice voted another 8 U.S. attorney nominees. Rollins' record, however, was different. Professionally, she openly said her goal as a prosecutor was to dismantle the criminal justice system from the inside. She also described the U.S. criminal justice system as, and this is a quote, a cruel and oppressive force of injustice.
And that's the one who's going to be tasked with enforcing the laws? I mean, you see how crazy the Moonbats are in this state? So they put forth the nominee, and we exposed this many times over the years. We had her on, and she even admitted half of this to us in back and forth debates that I had with her. She believes not only that the United States is a white supremacist racist system, but that our entire legal system is cruel and oppressive. And her job is to destroy and dismantle it. So you're going to make her a prosecutor? Someone who wants to destroy our laws and destroy our legal system? Hello? Listen now to Cotton saying, you want to know how radical her record was? This is how radical it was. Roll cut 37A, Mike.
As a district attorney, she refused to allow her prosecutors to enforce laws against fentanyl trafficking, breaking and entering, resisting arrest, or malicious destruction of property, among other crimes.
Yep. But that's why they nominated her. That's why they confirmed her. You won't enforce this? So you're pro-criminal. Well, that's what George Soros wants. Georgie says we're here to protect the criminals, the drug dealers, fentanyl, thugs, criminals. So the less crimes we enforce, the better. Listen now to Cotton saying on top of her record, and you remember this incident, it was all over the media. Her behavior was beyond outrageous, beyond shocking, beyond disgusting. Listen now to Tom Cotton. Roll cut 38, Mike.
But her problems were not limited to her abysmal professional record. Rollins' temperament and judgment was also in question. We learned of a curious case of road rage where Rollins forced another vehicle out of the merge lane, threatened the driver, and turned on sirens that, for some reason, she had in her car before she sped off through a red light.
And then you remember when Channel 25 confronted her on a public street? It was on a public street. And they said, you nearly ran that person over. And you pretended that you're a police officer with the sirens over a parking spot. You nearly ran that woman over. And so they confront her on a public street. And listen to Cotton. Roll cut 38, Mike. Sorry, 38A. My bad. 38A.
When a local news crew asked her about the incident, Rollins threatened the news crew as well, saying, and this is a quote, "I'll call the police on you and make an allegation, and we'll see how that works with you." Rollins' record was clear at the time. She thought the rules didn't apply to her, that she could use law enforcement as a weapon against anyone who questioned her, and any criticism of her record was racist.
Bingo. Oh, he nailed it. He nailed it. She was above the law. And she saw her position and law enforcement to go after anybody who stood in her way. And if you challenged her, or you criticized her, or you exposed her, racist, she played that race card like no one else, even more than Sharpton. I'm telling you, I've never seen, she's a whack job and a stone cold racist. You know, I said this to Grace last night. I said, I got to tell you, I have met very few true racists in my life. She's one of them. Stone cold anti-white racist. And I don't know what's wrong with this woman. I think she needs serious psychiatric help. I'm telling you this right now because she's actually biracial. She's half white, half black, which is fine. That's how God made you. We're all to meet children and beautiful in the eyes of God. But she's the one that seems to have a problem. It's like she hates the white half of her. And somehow she wants to take it out on everybody else. And you talk to her. She makes my skin crawl. She's a stone cold racist. And I just want to remind everybody, Rollins, okay? Rollins. So she has an incident at the South Bay shopping mall. They're fighting over a parking spot. She actually tries to run over someone. When they're telling her, you're out of control, she puts a police siren on, acts like she's a police officer, get out of my way. Word gets out, this is now Rollins. She nearly ran somebody over, and she's impersonating a police officer. She's confronted by Channel 25 on a public street.
I then hit a siren that goes, and her head snaps up. And I say, stop. You're in the wrong row of traffic, and go back to my life. That is the extent of that encounter. There is absolutely no truth to me putting blue lights on and flying around South Bay.
Lying through her teeth. That was her on WRKO. Okay, that was her on WRKO. Lying through her teeth. Multiple witnesses said she tried to run the person over. Multiple witnesses she said she sped out like a bat out of hell. Multiple witnesses said, yes, she put a siren on. Yes. It was like a police wee-oo, 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 wee-oo. So, this is supposed to be then district attorney for Suffolk County, which includes Boston. So, she was an incorrigible liar then. Now, she's been caught lying, not just repeatedly, but as U.S. attorney, lying under oath. Perjury. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, wee-oo, 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 wee-oo. She gets out of the South Bay Mall. She nearly runs somebody over. She's impersonating a police officer. She's flying. She's flying. She goes to her house. The reporters don't know where her house is. Next day, forgive me, yeah, it was next day at her house. So, the reporter, they don't know where her house is exactly. They just know this is the street that she's on. So they're waiting for her to get a comment from her. She comes out. They go, oh, there she is. There she is. So they confront her on a taxpayer-funded public street. They're not on her step.
Speak to you for 1 second, Miss Rollins.
You're in front of my house with my children?
We literally just pulled up here.
Yeah, but how do you know where I live?
Oh, it's public record, ma'am.
Right, okay. That's unbelievable.
We're not stalking you at all.
But my kids are inside.
Oh, we never even knocked the door. We were just parking here trying to figure out where we were going, and someone said we saw you here. So.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
There's something to see here.
Yeah.
We did.
No, I'm going to please make sure that you're in front of my house with my children inside. And you're going to put this on here.
This is your house.
Yeah, so as a black woman, in this moment, in this country, you're going to put my house on the screen?
No, ma'am. We're just here approaching you to ask you a question.
Get away from my family. Speak to me at my job.
Unbelievable. First of all, as a black woman, A, you're biracial. Okay, you're half black, but let that go. Let that go. What does your skin color have to do with anything? And they weren't in front of your house. They weren't at your door, your step. They were on the street. On a public street. So what, they can't ask you questions? Notice, she won't answer questions when she's caught, and then she plays the race card. And look at that thug come out. I'm telling you, the woman's got a screw loose. She's crazy. E loco. But hold on. She doesn't stop. Listen to this. Look at the thug. Look at the thug. Listen to the thug. Roll cut 31A. Mike.
If I get hurt or harmed because of this, you are on the record for that. Or my kids are killed. Listen. Who do you think you are? This is private property.
Okay,
get out of here.
Get out.
And you know what I'll do? I'll call the police on you and make an allegation, and we'll see how that works with you.
Threatening her and saying, I'm the Suffolk County DA. I'm going to call the cops. Wink, wink. Who do you think? They're going to believe me or you? She's openly threatening members of the media. And they go, oh, if I get hurt, oh, if I get harmed, oh, if something happens, oh, get lost. Cry me a river, you whack job. Seriously. Look, you impersonated a police officer. You nearly ran over a woman. You almost got somebody killed in the South Bay Mall. You're confronted on the street about it. It's a big story. The whole city and New England is talking about it. And they're asking you for your comment. I'm going to call the police on you. I'm the DA. Using your position to go after your opponents and your enemies. That's exactly what Tom Cotton said. Using law enforcement as a weapon. This time brazenly in front of cameras against reporters. And these dumb liberals still put her forward as a nominee and confirmed her? Warren, the fake Indian, Marcula, Ed Markey, Ice Cream Ed. And they're like, yeah. And to this day, even after the report, they're like, well, we stand behind her. No, you didn't see any of this? You see, maybe that's why Markey should show his face in Massachusetts, I don't know, once every 10 years. Instead of hiding in his mansion in Chevy Chase. Maybe he would know a little bit what's going on in this state. Just a little bit. There's more. There's more, I'm telling you. So she starts melting down. This is the district attorney at the time for Suffolk County. Boston is in her jurisdiction. One of the biggest cities in the country. This is the district attorney. Roll cut 32. Mike.
So the rantings of a white woman get you here and scare my children?
No.
Get off of our private property.
We're here
and I
to
swear to
ask
God,
you
I'm dead
about it.
serious. I will find your name. You can ask me somewhere else. Do not have a camera in front of my house.
I can give you my name.
Get them out of here. This is the Boston Police. I will have you arrested. I swear to God.
Okay.
My children are going to be hurt.
Okay. Because a reporter is asking her a question on a public street. Her children now all of a sudden are threatened? Really? Because, quote, and you notice how she played the race card. Because, quote, a white woman at the South Bay Mall said something. No, you almost ran her over, and there are witnesses that all of them, including, by the way, people of color, who said, yeah, she almost ran her over. She's a maniac. She almost ran that woman over. So she's a black woman. Don't dare question me. And my alleged victim was a white woman. So you better not believe her. And I got the police right here. And I swear to God, I'm going to have them arrest you. For what? You ever hear of the First Amendment? On a public street? You're going to start I'm sorry. Is this communist Cuba? Like, I'm sorry. Is this the Soviet Union? Like, is this communist China? Did I miss something here? So what, you can just arrest people for the hell of it? You thug, you racist thug? But hold on. The meltdown continues. Roll cut 32A. Mike.
We're just here to ask a question. We didn't even know where you live.
Get away from my house. I'm serious.
When someone said we saw you.
Please.
Okay, we're going to step away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Out of respect.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So they knew what they had. They knew she was damaged goods. They knew this is a psycho prosecutor. They had a psycho. I'm telling you, this is a Hollywood movie. Psycho, or better yet, Lifetime movie. Lifetime movie. Psycho prosecutor, starring Rachel the Racist Rollins. She's a nut job. A cuckoo clock. She's crazy. Now, when told that, yeah, she extorted 30 free Boston Celtics tickets, lavish travel, violated the Hatch Act, attended a partisan fundraiser. Jill Biden was there in Andover, clearly breaking the law in front of, I don't know how many hundreds of witnesses. Then she illegally leaked sensitive Department of Justice information to multiple reporters. Then when asked, were you the person who leaked it? She lied under oath. So the Herald reporter said, no, it was her. The Globe reporter said it was her. They show the text messages of the leaks coming from her. She then lies and tries to frame the opponent of her favorite candidate to replace her, claiming that he was going to have some kind of public corruption allegation against them, which wasn't true. And then she tries to bully someone in her office to write a public letter saying the Department of Justice was going to go after Kevin Hayden when they didn't want to go after Kevin Hayden. I mean, this woman is an absolute political thug and a criminal. And she was the top federal prosecutor in Massachusetts? Ay. By the way, how does she get to serve out the rest of the week? What is it, to get a full week's pay? You know, she's tendering her resignation on Friday. She should have been fired on the spot. On the spot. And she should be put in handcuffs. Now, apparently, we'll see, She may never be able to be a prosecutor again, but I don't even think she's going to be disbarred, which means technically this whack job, this racist, could actually still technically practice law. When told about the explosive Inspector General's report, and when I say it was scathing and devastating, I don't see how Rawlins can ever recover from everything they exposed about her. Listen, typical moonbats. Typical moonbats. What? No, I can't believe it. No, we're stunned. We're absolutely shocked. No, I can't. No, I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it. Where's the Mayor Wu cut? Cut 30, Mike.
I know that she's been a leader that has made a difference in Boston in many, many ways. And there have been many spaces where no cameras present. She was hard at work building community, and just sort of issue after issue. She's been a good partner.
This is after she knew everything that happened. This is Mayor Michelle Wu. Okay, Marxist Michelle. And great partner behind. Yeah, she helped get you elected. There you go. That's why you like her so much. She helped you become elected and destroy the city of Boston. So she's told, well, you realize she broke all kinds of laws. She lied under oath. She committed egregious, abusive, unethical conduct, complete prosecutorial misconduct. She's going to be out. She's lucky she doesn't go to jail. This is Michelle Wu's response. I'm shocked. Roll cut 30A. Mike.
I've known her to be a strong leader in our city on many, many issues, and this has been quite a surprise.
I'm shocked. Yeah, no, you didn't know. You didn't pick up a newspaper once. You didn't. I just played the cuts. You all knew she was a ticking time bomb. You all knew this woman wasn't right in the head. You all knew that she did not believe that the laws applied to her, that the rules, nothing applied to her, because she was entitled, because she's a victim of a racist, oppressive system, of a racist, oppressive America. Well, now this whack job has blown up on him. Huge scandal. The national media has been forced to carry this. This has gone viral. This is a huge black eye on the Justice Department, a huge black eye for the Biden regime. Even the Office of Inspector General's report says, how can this woman ever have been confirmed as a U.S. attorney for Massachusetts? And how could she have been remaining in power for this long when there was misconduct and criminal behavior time and time and time again? I mean, what is she, Winnie Mandela? I mean, what does it take? Finally now, she will resign. Her career, her reputation in tatters. My question to you, are you happy that she's gone, and should she be locked up?
Rawlins is now running out of office, one step ahead of the sheriff. Good riddance.
She's resigning this Friday, effective immediately. My question to you, is it enough? Is it enough, or should she be charged with violation of the Hatch Act, perjury, abuse of power? I could go on and on. In other words, should she go to jail? I say yes. What do you say? Mags in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Mags, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff, and as always, God bless you and God bless all of Kuhner country.
Thank you, Mags.
Ever since I remember, Jeff, when you first interviewed her, you just had me cracking up laughing about her, okay? Because when you first interviewed her, you knew that she was an angry, bitter racist. And all I can say about it is that if she doesn't go to jail, I'm going to be really pissed off. Because listening to woo-woo, I mean, the people of Massachusetts better wake up. Because all of these criminals, obviously, they stick together. Markey and Elizabeth Warren and now woo-woo. I mean, follow the governor. Also, it's like, are people sleeping, Jeff? Because you showed everybody how she was right off the bat, I think almost 2 years ago, correct?
Yes.
I mean, you guys talked to Kirsten yesterday at January 6th. They're being punished more than somebody like this that has gone against the rule of law over and over and over again. What the hell?
Mags, I'm just curious. Do you think the Democrats have learned their lesson that when you get involved with people like Rachel Rollins, racist bomb throwers, pro-criminal ideologues, radical leftists, it's not going to work in the end because psychologically they're unhinged, they're clearly unstable? Or do you think it's just move on, nothing to see here?
Unfortunately, honestly, Jeff, and you know that's the only way I speak, I think there are so many criminals in our government, and the liberals and the rhinos, okay, so many of the Republicans are evil, criminal, treasonous people. They could care less about the United States of America because they do things against us constantly, even the resident in the White House. So we all try to figure out every day, what can we do? What can we do? What we can do? I just keep on praying to God, Jeff, because I really don't know what to do. And when you see these Soros DAs being allowed to be put into place, it's like, what? I mean, and then you have the Elizabeth Warrens and the Ed Markeys that are in place that are criminals. I mean, it's insane. And I wish that we could all figure out how to fix it because I don't have an answer. Do you, Jeff? Because honestly, it's out of control at this point.
Oh, you're completely right. Look, the answer is to vote them all out. And look, we take our victories when we get them. And boy, oh boy, did Rollins fall hard this time. I mean, Mags, if you want just fun entertainment reading, take a look at that report. Oh, man. It tears her to ribbons. Oh, I mean, everybody is commenting. Rarely have they ever seen a report this harsh, this devastating on any single individual. I mean, you look at this and you're like, how does this woman hold down a job? I wouldn't hire her, I'm telling you, to cut my lawn. I swear to you. I wouldn't hire her to clean my toilet or whatever. I wouldn't hire her to do any chore, anything, fix my roof. Never mind. District attorney? U.S. attorney for Massachusetts? The top federal prosecutor for the entire state? Whoa, Mags, we dodged a bullet. Oh, we dodged a big bullet. Mags, thank you very much for that call. I'm telling you, you got to read it. It's like out of a third. It's like, is this like this? I don't know. It's out of Venezuela. Or the travel, the way she used the police like her personal security guard. The 30 free Boston Celtics tickets. She calls up the phone. She goes, I want 30 tickets. What? Yeah, I want 30 tickets. What do you mean you want 30 tickets? I want 30 tickets. If not, you're going to get in trouble. Give me 30 tickets. Oh, who gets 30 tickets? Who gets 30 tickets? Who gets 30 tickets? Free and nice seats. I'm not talking bleachers. Nice seats. 617-266-6868. Patrick in New York. Thanks for holding, Patrick, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. What I'm going to point out is that I don't think the Rachel Rollins case is all that special. I think the culture of our prosecutors has become so corrupt that her case isn't that special. But the question I have is, within the Department of Justice, who doesn't lie to the inspector general? How many examples have we seen of the attorney generals, committing perjury in front of Congress, prosecutors hiding evidence from defendants, prosecutors just making up charges against people? And I don't think that this is, confined to the Department of Justice.
Attending fundraisers, getting lavish travel, perks, tickets, using the police to go after their opponents. You're saying, in other words, Patrick, you're saying, look at Garland, look at the FBI, look at what the Durham report exposed. Right? It's business as usual.
Peter in Texas that made up a charge against the governor of Texas. Because he wanted her to resign because she got quite drunk driving. She accused him of using his legitimate offices, the legitimate powers of his offices, and we had a corrupt judge that let the investigation go on for years. I mean, so until we start to hold these prosecutors personally responsible.
I agree. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you want to have a little bit of a laugh? Listen now. Senator Tom Cotton, this was him yesterday, saying, yeah, I was the one who referred the psycho prosecutor, Rachel the Racist Rollins, to the Inspector General to eventually have this report, and now she's gone. She had to resign. And he goes, look, let me just give you just a little list, a short list of the violations. It's a 161-page report. The report, I got to say, very thorough, comprehensive, detailed, meticulous. But it reads like a novel. You're like, nobody can be this stupid. She is this stupid. Nobody can be this abuse. Oh my God. She really is that abusive. She thinks she's above the law. Listen now to Cotton. Roll cut 39A, Mike.
I referred Rollins for an investigation by the Department of Justice Inspector General. And just minutes ago, the Inspector General released a damning report. Over 150 pages of findings of wrongdoing. Just a short sampling. Rollins used the office to get free tickets to the Boston Celtics. Rollins repeatedly lied to the Inspector General during the investigation.
We cut the cut off. He kept going and going and going. We just don't want to play 60-second cuts. So, now let me just make a confession to all of you. All right. Like I'm in the confessional. I've had my run-ins with Rollins, and we're going to play the last run-in I had with her. Not now, a little bit later. And I said this afterwards. I go, she's so crazy and she's so unstable and she's such a racist. I'm white. She doesn't like white people. In fact, no, she hates white people. I said to my wife afterwards, I said, I got to be very careful. I mean it. I know there's a target on my back. And whatever she can try to get me on, this nut job, this wackadoodle, will do everything in her power to destroy me. Jaywalk, go through a yellow light, whatever it may be. And I just told everybody, I told Grace, I said, everything has to be 1,000% above board. Because with this crazy woman, she's coming. She goes after her enemies and she destroys them. And she thinks she's above the law and she can use the police, law enforcement, anything, her office, as a weapon, a bludgeon to destroy and clobber anybody who gets in her way. So personally, I'm relieved. I am relieved because my big fear, one of my big fears, was that this woman would try to get me on some trumped up charge. Because I'm telling you, she's that crazy, she's that unethical, and she's that much of a bigot. In fact, let's go cut 100. So she supports the Black Lives Matter riots. She supports rioting and looting and destroying businesses. So I call her out. Yeah. So I'm calling her out, and out of the blue. So I'm criticizing her on the air. I'm riffing on her, and she, out of the blue, we didn't invite her or nothing. She just calls the show voluntarily. And she starts debating with me. I'm like, okay. And the more she debates with me, the deeper the hole she's digging. She's pro-Black Lives Matter, pro-rioting, pro-criminal. She's coming across, frankly, like a racist lunatic. So now we're at break. And she's holding. And unbeknownst to us, we didn't know she could hear what we were saying. So and Sandy is a witness. She was there. Christian was then on the board. Now it's Mike. And I'm saying, does her staff know that she just called the show voluntarily? Because she sounds absolutely crazy. And I'm like, the staff needs to call her and rein her in. That's right, Sandy, right? Is that what I said? That's right? Am I? Okay. So Sandy's like, absolutely, positively. That's literally verbatim, practically what I said. Now, I didn't know she heard this. We come back on the air. Here's what happened. Roll cut 100, Mike.
I need you to know that when you were on break, I could hear everything you were saying to your staff. I don't think you realized I was still on that discussion that you were just having about me offline with the people you work with.
Yes.
So, yes, I did pay you the courtesy of calling in and showed you that respect. But since you and your staff and the words you used about me off air without knowing I was there, I'm going to go ahead and move on with my day.
Whoa. What did I say? Whoa, what did I say? Oh, she's chickening out. Wow, what a coward. I called her crazy. That's it. The word that crazy. That was the big word, crazy. Because she is crazy. I don't know what else to tell you. So, so after that, I'm like, this woman is the district attorney for Suffolk County? Again, because you have listeners from all over the country. Includes Boston. Can you imagine? And then when they nominated her for U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, I go, I don't know who's crazier, them or her. Who nominates this psycho, this wacko, to be the top federal prosecutor for Massachusetts? So, am I shocked that she completely imploded? No. It's anybody could have predicted it. 617-266-6868. Brenda in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Brenda, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I don't think I've ever done this on your show. This is for Rachel. I hope you're listening. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Bye-bye, Rachel. You're a wackadoodle. I call these chicks wackadoodles. She got some serious mental health problems, and she was somehow using her position as the Suffolk DA, and then she got lobbed in to be an attorney general and trying to root her whatever junk that she's got in her trunk. I don't know. But adios, amigo. See you later, alligator. The last time I heard her, and you probably have the clip coming up, Jeff. I hope I'm not ruining it for you. But the last time I believe you had her on the show is that you had her in a corner. You were bombarding her in typical Kuhner man fashion with a bazillion questions. That's like, oh, excuse me. Like, people don't ask me all these questions. I'm a coddled wackadoodle, and so I don't handle this well. And what happened is, out of nowhere, her, we all know that she's a nut job. It came out. It's like, honey, you are on the radio. You can't talk like this, you classless snot. She said, geez, I'll never forget it because I wrote it down in one of my journals. Jesus effing Christ. And then she was gone. It was like, holy bleep, okay? She just revealed who she really was, a characterless, just awful human being. And all the montages that you just played typified that she is just completely unhinged. I made a note. She said to that woman, I think it was one of the media gals, the rantings of a white woman.
That's right.
And she specifically needed to note that you are a white woman. Now, I don't know, is there some kind of a way that us white people rant? I wasn't sure of that. And then my mind completely went to, her savior, Barack Hussein Obama, who years ago had mentioned about us light-skinned folks that we were typical white people. And I never understood what that was, because I don't know, I don't box people into some kind of typical place. The people are people. This one does that one does this, and whatever. But she's a complete whack job. Janet Jackson, I remember years ago, had a song called Nasty Boy. She should rewrite it and do it as an homage to our friend Rachel and call it Nasty Girl, because she's a nasty piece of bleeping work, okay? And she can take her trashy mouth and she can go bye-bye, and she can figure out what the hell she's going to do now. And if there is something that she can be put on charges, and if there's something legit, then it's like, hey, hey, it is what it is, honey. It's finally caught up to you. She's a very bitter woman. She's very vindictive. This is sort of, I'll use the word that Barack used, typical of those that are on the other side, that have a spirit of enlightenment. They believe they should be coddled. Never ask them questions like you did, Jeff, or you'll get the response of taking the Lord's name in vain, which I did take that as sort of like, as a Christian. I'm like, you're just so classic.
Oh, no, you're right. Brenda, you're dead on. No, really, as usual. Absolutely, you're dead on. Vicious. Nasty, vicious, angry, bitter. And the sad thing is, she became Suffolk District Attorney. And instead of saying, wow, what a great country, it's like she hated us even more. Okay, Rachel Rollins is gone. Yeah, baby. Or to be more specific, this Friday will be her last day as the top federal law enforcement officer in Massachusetts. She will be tendering her resignation in the wake of a brutal and absolutely devastating Inspector General's report documenting violations, unethical, abusive conduct, frankly, illegal criminal behavior on her part. My question to you, it's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Kelly Financial Services. Should Rachel Rollins be disbarred? Beyond resigning and losing her position as U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, should she lose her ability to practice law? Should she be disbarred? Yes or no? You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhner. You can also vote on our Twitter handle, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhner, all of it one word, at the Kuhner Report. 617-266-6868. David in Woburn. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Good morning, Dr. Kuhner.
Hi, David.
Hi. So I'm listening to the clips this morning about Rachel when she was confronted by the newscast, and how she kept on saying things like, get away from my home, my house, how did you find my home, my children, my children, my children. And then I thought about the Supreme Court justices who were harassed, and Brett Kavanaugh and the rest of them harassed outside their homes. I'm wondering if Rachel thought about them when they were being harassed.
Well, that's an excellent point. That is a really, really good point. Protesters can go right in front of their home all day, all night with their bullhorns, hang them in effigy, threaten them, even though it's against the law. It's blatantly against the law. And the left says it's no problem. Here, you ask her for a comment, and they're on the street. I mean, they're not in front of her home. I mean, she's coming out of her home, but they're on the street. Not just the sidewalk, the street. And she's acting like they're going to break in and massacre her and her children. No, I can just tell you this, David, as someone who has dealt with her multiple times, when she's challenged, when she's held accountable, she goes berserk. I'm not saying this to insult her. I'm telling you, it's a description. She's not right in the head. There is something mentally wrong with this woman. She's got demons. She's got issues. I don't know what they are. She's got issues regarding her racial identity. There's nothing wrong with being biracial. Half white, half black. That's how God made you. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people are biracial. They have a very, productive, successful, happy life. This is like a cancer eating away at her. I know she had brothers that were involved with drugs and they had to go to jail. And that also really bothered her. She's got all kinds. She hates white people. She truly loathes and hates white people. When I say she's a rabid racist, she really is a racist. And the problem is she's half white. It's weird. It's just, there's something wrong with her. And I don't know if she needs psychiatric help, she needs therapy, whatever it is. But if you challenge and confront her, David, she goes apoplectic. And she has no self-awareness. I mean, the cameras are there. There's police officers right in front of her. I mean, she knows what she did. There were dozens of witnesses. It's the South Bay Mall. She almost ran a woman over, honking, and then she put on this siren when the woman said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" She puts on this, the lights and the siren, and she impersonates a police officer, and she's almost running people over as she's getting out of the mall. So she knows what she did. All she had to say was, "Bad day. I'm sorry, won't happen again." Well, whatever. There's millions of ways to handle it. I apologize. Wasn't my best moment. Whatever. No. She's white. I'm black. How dare you come after me? I'm a black woman. You're going to get me killed. You're going to get my children killed. You better get off the street. You don't get off the street, I'm going to have the police arrest you. And who are they going to believe, me or you? And this is all on camera. No, David, I got to tell you, in all seriousness, her, believe it or not, I can kind of get. Because I've met people like that in my life. They're racists. They have some kind of traumatic past. They're mentally ill. And their politics is a sign or a symptom of their illness. What I don't get is the Elizabeth Warrens and the Ed Markeys and the Maura Healeys and the Michelle Woos. Because you know that this woman is an unguided missile. You know that she's trouble. Like, she's real trouble. So why would you put up her nomination? Why would you put your prestige and credibility behind her? Like, that to me is the scary part. And to this day, even after this devastating report, to the point that Biden has told her, you gotta go. Schumer has said, she's gotta go. They're still defending her. This is the part I don't get. David?
She's going to use the race card. She's going to use the race card to try to benefit her. And, of course, all the people who supported her will look like they have egg in their face if they go against her now. So it's almost like, I got to kind of support her and kind of make sure this thing is right, because you look at people like Elizabeth Warren who think she's an Indian.
Well, that's a
How
good
many
point.
times has she-
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point.
And she believes it. And she stepped over other people who probably had better qualifications or as equal at Harvard or other colleges that she taught at, but she checked the box, I'm an Indian. So
Well, that's a very good point. Dave, that's an excellent point. In other words, one fraud supports the other fraud. You know what? You're right. When you phrase it that way, you're right. David, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. No, to me, I got to tell you, really, this is what part of me is like saying, Jeff, why don't you invite her to call the show? Really, because she's crazy enough to call the show. Like you say, okay, well, why don't you give us your side? Defend yourself. She's obsessed with me. She's obsessed with this show. She's obsessed with her enemies. And I'm telling you, half of me says do it because I think it would be incredible radio. But the other half is really, I'm like, it would just be sad. You know, it's like dealing with a compulsive racist. Like think of an old Southern segregationist. They have to stick it to black people no matter what. They can't help themselves. Well, the woman would call in and start, I'm telling you, I did nothing wrong. In fact, that's what her lawyer is arguing. Her lawyer is arguing, listen to this, it's all her, but through the lawyer's mouth. The lawyer is arguing that she committed minor violations. Listen to this. Minor violations, but that in order to end the constant speculation that she should resign, in order to end the chaos surrounding her, she's going to step down. Not because she's guilty. No. For the good of the position. That's what, for the cases that they're working on. So, for justice, for law enforcement, on behalf of her professional integrity, for the good of the office of U.S. Attorney. So, all of this stuff, that's the circus, the media circus. So, the appearance that I've done something wrong is a distraction. So to end the distraction, that's how the lawyer phrased it, she's going to step down. In other words, she's doing us a favor. Instead of, instead of, I was wrong, I need to look I need to look at my soul, I need to look in the mirror. And you read the report. Trips to California, tickets, to the point that she was running Ricardo Arroyo's campaign. She was proofreading the statements he would release to the public. She was feeding him the answers he had to give to the Boston Globe reporter when allegations surfaced that he was sexually harassing people. He was engaged in sexual harassment. 2005, 2007. She's his campaign manager. And listen to this, as the Inspector General's report says, she was told explicitly just before she went to the Jill Biden fundraiser, you cannot go. Because she was telling everybody she's going. And everyone's like, you can't go. Her staff, everybody was saying, you don't understand. It violates the Hatch Act. You cannot go to a partisan political fundraiser. It is illegal. You must appear in public at all times politically neutral. Especially if you're a U.S. attorney. So she's told by the Deputy Attorney General, according to I'm just going by the report now, do not go to that fundraiser in Andover, Mass. Don't go. Now, she says she wants to meet Jill Biden. So you know what they told her? To bend over backwards to appease her. We will set up a separate meeting for you. You will meet Jill Biden. You can shake her hand. You can take a picture with her. You can schmooze with her, talk with her, have a drink with her, whatever you want to do. but you cannot in public attend a fundraiser and stay in line and shake her hand and shake the other donors. You're a U.S. attorney. You can't do that. She went anyway after being told. And then when she's confronted, you know what she said? She lied. She goes, I was never told. It's like, what? You were never told? Then, email after email, text message after text message. Here. Then she goes, okay, I was told, but so what? And they're like, you're lying under oath. Like, you're a U.S. attorney, man. Like, no? You don't see how wrong this is? How a woman like this can get that far and that powerful, to me, that's the scary part. That's the scary part. 617-266-6868. Diane in East Bridgewater. Thanks for holding, Diane, and welcome.
Good. And I love you in a sexual way.
Thank you, Diane.
I just wanted to talk, maybe you can express a little bit, and you just did, about the Hatch Act, because people don't understand how strong this is. I actually work for the government, and I'm not anything that's like, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a congressman. I actually work for the VA hospital, which is also government property. Because it's government property, we can't do anything, even though it's a healthcare facility. I'm on my way to work right now. I can't even have a bumper sticker on my car that says Trump 2024. And I work for a healthcare facility, yet we have a U.S. attorney that goes to a political function. It's horrible. She should be
with government plates in a government car with government plates.
I work in a healthcare facility that really it's only considered political just because it's the government, because the VA is different than other hospitals. If I work for Brigham and Women's, I could put a bumper sticker on my car, but I cannot pull in on a government property and have Trump 2024 on my bumper. That's how strict it is. I can't hold a flag that says Trump 2024. We can't do anything like that. And people don't understand, like, all that goes on with the Hatch Act. And what she did was horrible. And she should have to go to court for it. Something should happen to her.
Diane, I want to ask you this. I'm so happy that you called, because you're explaining to people how serious the Hatch Act is and how serious it is for any federal employee like yourself. Never mind, my God, the U.S. attorney, which, by the way, to be fair, that's exactly what the report says. The report said, for you to do this, i.e. the U.S. attorney, it's shocking. They said it's almost unprecedented. Like, they use such scathing language. Like, this boggles the mind. So, I want to ask you, Diane, bear with me. Not that you would ever do this, but just bear with me. If you went to a partisan, let's say Trump fundraiser, you go in your official capacity. You go, you're there for hours, you mingle with Trump, you mingle with other Republicans, you mingle with other donors, you give a speech, how great Trump is, then you tell people that you want 30 free Boston Celtics tickets. And if you don't get those, if you don't get the tickets, you're not going to give somebody the care that they should deserve or that they need at the hospital you work at. No tickets, no care. You know what? I want a trip to Florida. I won't take care of this patient unless you pay for my trip to Florida. Or in this case, it was California for Rachel Rollins. You start illegally leaking information to damage people that you're working with because you just don't like them or you want to get the promotion over them. And so you start divulging and leaking sensitive, private, confidential patient information to the media to damage people because you want to get a promotion. Then you're caught, and under oath, you lie that you're the person that's leaking all that information. And then they show you, well, isn't this you? Isn't this your text message? Isn't this your email? And then you admit later on, yeah, I just lied to you. Yeah, that is me. Because I'm telling you, that's what Rachel Rollins did. What would happen to you would you just lose your job? Or do you think you'd be going to jail?
Nothing will probably happen to her.
But Diane, I mean, sorry, because we didn't hear the last part. Would you end up going to jail if this was you?
Yes. Yes. They would probably put me in jail.
And you'd probably never be able to work in a hospital again, correct?
Yeah.
I'm asking the same question about racist Rachel. You know, yes, she's resigning, okay, but why should she ever work as a lawyer again? She should be disbarred. And why isn't she being perp walked? Why isn't she being put behind bars? Because I guarantee you, Diane, if you did exactly what she did, the way I just laid it out, you're looking at several years in prison, easy. Easy. Diane, do we still have you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry, you're kind of breaking up on us.
Well, I would be in a lot of trouble if I did what she did.
Diane, God bless you and keep up the great work. I love you people that work at the VA. Really, God bless you, Diane. Thank you for that call. 6-1. See, that's a woman who has an honest living. No, really. Unlike this charlatan, Rachel Rollins. You know, who needs Rachel Rollins? All she does is destroy. That's what she does. And, you know, look, here is a nurse who works at the VA. You know, what does she do? Help vets. She can't put a Trump bumper sticker. Go Republicans. Well, what? I don't care. Take your pick. You're gone. You can't engage in partisan political activity. So what you can see what Rollins did, how egregious, how disgusting, how outrageous it was. 617-266-6868. And she still is the victim. In her mind, she's the victim. And I'm telling you, in her mind, I know how she thinks. She's the victim of a racist white supremacist system. If that lunatic would call in this show, I'm telling you, within 2 minutes, blame Whitey. The white man brought her down. That's how she thinks. Frank in Cohasset. Thanks for holding, Frank, and welcome.
Yes, good morning. You know, for security reasons, I'm surprised that the Justice Department is letting her go into the building today and tomorrow. God only knows what types of documents she could take out of there or other property. She could destroy things or bring records home and keep them for future purposes. And second of all, I think her house should be searched. God knows what she's got in the house. If she's done these evil things, you know, she probably has things in that house that documents that she shouldn't have and other evidence. Mm.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, I would also, I mean, I don't know, she may do something violent. I mean, not that she has a history of, I mean, she does try to run people over, you know, and threaten to use the cops to destroy people. But she's such a bitter, angry, disturbed woman. And, you know, she sold her soul to become U.S. attorney. And now to take it away from her, when you're dealing with somebody as unstable and mentally unhinged as her, I honestly, as an employee there, I'd be like, is she going to go postal? I mean, with this woman, who knows? That's how crazy, I'm telling you, she's crazy. That's how crazy she is. But no, I agree with you. That's the other thing. I said, what do you mean resign on Friday? No, we should be resigning effective immediately. And to collect her private things and send them off to her house. Frank, thank the Lord she's gone. Believe me, we just dodged a bullet. And by the way, you know what case she was helping to oversee and investigate? You know the Air National Guardsman? You know the leak case? You know, Teixeira, is that how you pronounce his last name? You know, Jack Teixeira. So, Teixeira, forgive me, Jack Teixeira. So, she was the lead investigator on that case. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. 617 266-6868 is the number. Rachel Rollins, she's now resigning on Friday. A, are you happy? B, should she be disbarred? And should she go to jail? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, now Warren. I kid you not, the fake Indian. Yep. Granny Warren, Elizabeth Warren is now coming under fire, as is Ice Cream Ed Markey, for having dared to even nominate and pushed for the confirmation of racist Rachel Rollins, now that it has turned into an absolute debacle for the Biden regime. Many in the media are now saying it could be the worst or one of the worst appointments Biden has ever made. And now it has flamed out. It has turned into a disaster. And people are asking, what the hell were Warren and Markey thinking of? Are they that out of touch and disconnected from reality? Yes. 617-266-6868. Jim in Newburyport. Thanks for holding, Jim, and welcome.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Jim?
Very good, sir. I have one quick question, and possibly you could answer this. Since Ms. Rollins has been convicted of this, is there any chance that any of the cases that she's been involved with could be overturned?
Well, she hasn't been convicted. There was this scathing, blistering report. She's been forced to resign. There's been no convictions yet of anything. So no, it doesn't affect any of her cases. It's her character that's being really now eviscerated. And what they're saying is she should never have been hired and she should never have been confirmed. But no, it doesn't affect any of her cases.
No, because of her being racially motivated in that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, they're not. See, I'm saying that she's a stone cold racist. That's the one.
Yes.
The report's not saying that. I mean, she is. But what all the report says, and it's very, she lied under oath. She committed perjury. She violated the Hatch Act. She used her position to enrich herself, to get free tickets, to get lavish travel, that she bullied people around her to benefit herself. So it's all personal. It's all her personal violations of the law or her personal violations of Justice Department guidelines and policies. It's not anything to do with her as a prosecutor. So I don't think they'll be able to get other cases changed or overturned. The question is, can she ever recover? In fact, let me ask you, Jim. A lot of people are texting me saying, don't be surprised if she's back as the Suffolk District Attorney in a couple of years. That the people of Greater Boston, the Moonbats, are so crazy, so radical, so left-wing, so pro-criminal, and that's what she is, she's pro-criminal, that she'll be endorsed by Michelle Wu. She'll be endorsed by Warren. She'll be endorsed by Markey. She'll be endorsed by the Boston Globe. And goodbye, Kevin Hayden. Hello, Rachel Rollins. She'll be back. Jim, do you think that's possible?
It is. I believe it is. I believe it will be, yes. I've had associations with people who have dealt with her in the past. And, they are not a fan of her when she was a Suffolk County prosecutor.
She sees everything through the lens of race. That's the only other person that made my skin crawl like that in all my years was David Duke. I actually met him. I interviewed him, and he's a racist. I mean, he's a hardcore, real. Today we call everybody a racist, but I mean someone who you meet him. The moment you meet him, you're like, whoa. Woo. They really, in this case, he hates black people. Like, really hates black people. It's, really, the color of your skin is everything. Rollins, the same thing, but it's white. You have white skin, she hates you. She loads you. She can barely contain herself. Jim, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Farrakhan is very similar. I never met Farrakhan, but I'm just saying. But when you meet her, it's very disconcerting. You're like, you need help. You really need help. Mike in Saugus. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Jeff, nice to talk to you.
Hi, Mike.
Let me just say one thing. I've told you this before. To the audience, this Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of John F. Kennedy, Ray Flynn, Tip O'Neill. This is a communist organization. These people are criminals, traitors. They hate America. They hate the Constitution. And most of all, they hate God. That's what it is in a nutshell. And they keep on getting away with all this. And then you've got the weak Republicans that will not fight. They just don't know how to fight.
Oh, Mike, I completely agree. No, I think, I don't even think this is Bill Clinton's party anymore. I mean, I know he and Hillary have a lot of influence and they're very corrupt. And, we now know what they did regarding Russia collusion, especially Hillary Clinton. But by today's standards, Bill Clinton is some flaming right-winger, according now to this radical Democratic Party. And I'll tell you what's really changed, Mike. And that's why they pushed Rachel Rollins. That's why they nominated her, and that's why they confirmed her. And you touched on it. She's an anti-white racist. She's an anti-white, anti-American bigot. Now, you look at Joe Biden. Look at, speech after speech. What does he do? All he does is demonize white people. That's all this guy does. All this guy does is go on about white supremacy, neo-Nazis. There's white supremacists under every bed, in every corner. So someone like Rachel Rollins, who is clearly a bigot, clearly a racist, she's a black supremacist. Look at her. Politically, she's in the mainstream of the Democratic Party. 617-266-6868. Now, Sandy and I were just talking off air, and I want to throw this log on the fire. You have Kim Gardner, Soros-backed district attorney, this one for St. Louis. She's resigning. She's out before they bring her down with charges. You now have Rachel Rollins, U.S. attorney for Massachusetts, the state's top federal law enforcement officer, top prosecutor, top federal law enforcement official, out before they criminally bring her down. Who else is going to fall? You've got now real scandals at the FBI, more scandals at the DOJ. You got the Durham report, scandals at the CIA. This could be the beginning of many more resignations to come. Because the dirty little secret is there are many Rachel Rollins that have been appointed and seated across the government. These are the kinds of people that Biden confirmed. Think about that. There's not one Rachel Rollins. There are countless Rachel Rollins in this regime and in this administration. 617-266-6868. Ron in Holliston. Thanks for holding, Ron, and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call again.
Hi, Ron.
Hey, I had to. I'm sorry. I let go of a call yesterday going into break, but it sounds like that this is a good removal. She sounds like a domino and not a low hanging fruit. And then to the I'm thankful for the VA caller. They take good care of me, and that's I just. Is it okay if I quickly wrap up on some of my ideas that I had yesterday?
Well, Ron, we want to stay on track. We can definitely, we're going to definitely revisit that issue, I promise. No, what I want to ask you is this, Ron. To me, this is, I think, the burning issue right now. You have an out of control, completely corrupt district, whatever, prosecutor, former district attorney, U.S. attorney. You mentioned the VA. If any of the VA nurses, doctors, whatever, had so much as a pin on them saying they're pro-Biden or pro-Trump or whatever, or a bumper sticker, they're gone. They're gone. Never mind what this woman did. And if they did what she did, I'm telling you, they would all be in jail. And I want to ask you, Ron, is one of the reasons why they don't want to prosecute her because she's tied at the hip with Black Lives Matter? She's tied at the hip with the racists in the Democratic Party, these arsonists, Antifa, BLM, and you go after Rachel Rollins, she will scream racism, she will play the race card, and she will say, burn, baby, burn. And before you know it, you've got riots in Boston. Is that the reason why they're afraid to put her behind bars?
But my thoughts would be, I haven't seen it, but have they already been coming out in support of her at this time right now? Like, I would think that if that was going to happen, like if we were afraid to prosecute her or try and have harsher sentence on her, wouldn't they already be out defending her right now?
Well, how do I say this? I mean, incredibly, Warren, Markey, and Wu are backing her. I mean, they're saying we're disappointed, we're shocked, but we're shocked. Oh, we're shocked. Ron, we're so shocked. We can't believe this. Even though everybody knew. She almost ran over that poor woman in that parking lot. She went crazy, literally crazy, at a TV reporter on the street in front of cameras. I mean, everybody knew who this woman is. But the problem now is BLM is not happy. The squad is not happy. Ayanna Pressley, she's not happy. Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, they look at someone like Rachel Rollins, they're like, that's the future star of a Democratic Party. That's the future of the whole party. Now, the report is the report is the report. I mean, you can't violate the Hatch Act the way she did. So brazenly, so flagrantly. Hell, it's caught on camera. Picture after picture after picture, and her boss telling her, you can't go. So, yeah, they can't prevent her from resigning. They can't say she shouldn't resign. But I'm looking at this, and I'm like, Ron, I'm telling you, if this was you or me, we're looking at 10 years easy. Easy behind bars. Easy. Any lawyer we get would tell us, go for a plea. Get a plea, take a deal, because you're going to be spending a lot of time behind bars. And instead, with this one, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets a job in the Biden administration or some Democratic law firm like Perkins Coie scoops her up, or she ends up working with Eric Holder, or she comes back as Suffolk DA in a couple of years. That, to me, is how far and extreme and frankly insane the Democratic Party has become. Rachel Rollins is not fringe. Rachel Rollins is in many ways now the new mainstream of the Democratic Party. Listen to a speech by Joe Biden about racism in America and how systemically racist we are and how the country is riven with white supremacy and that our whole system is systemically racist and bigoted and there are neo-Nazis everywhere. And then you listen to Rachel Rollins and you say, there's not much difference. There's not much daylight between them. Ron, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. That's what the Democrats have now become. They were racist in the 19th century. They were racist for much of the 20th century. And now they're racist again. It's just a different kind of racism. Steve in Hyde Park. Thanks for holding, Steve, and welcome.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Jeff, good, pal. As smart as you are, I'm surprised you haven't figured it out. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with Rachel and her demeanor. I think, and it's spreading, she has a black female toxic masculinity disease.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit, Steve?
Well, they're always telling us we have white male toxic masculinity, so she has black female toxic masculinity. You just reverse it.
She does act like she's really entitled, and that the law, nothing applies to her. You know, no one's above the law. Steve, she thinks she's above everything.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's all I want to make, a quick comment.
Thank you, Steve. I'm so happy she's gone. Oh, what a victory. I'm serious. Oh, wow. I'm telling you. Whoa, to see her go down, huh? Warren's miserable. Markey's miserable. Biden is not happy. If they're not happy, I'm happy. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can text us 70470. This is from 781. Jeff, maybe the Democrats have an all-star ticket in 2024. Fetterman Rollins. Fetterman's Rollins, huh? Fetterman Rollins would be a dream ticket. That pretty much sums up the modern Democratic Party. Mark in Medford. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. Jeff, I got a story. I think I told you this a long time ago. She had my Twitter account permanently shut down. I was locked out because one day she posted a caricature of Kamala Harris. It was like a cartoon, like animated, but in the background there was a shadow of her on the wall, but the shadow was Rosa Parks. And I said, first of all, Rachel, do not compare Kamala Harris to Rosa Parks, number one. I said, number two, isn't this great? One racist B praising another racist B. And she reported me because I called her a B and a racist. And that was it. So you know what, Jeff? This is like karma in my favor. I was doing a Snoopy happy dance when I found this. This was great. This was great. And you know what? I got one message for Rachel Rollins, if she's listening. Get used to these words, Rachel. Would you like fries with that?
Mark, she's definitely listening. I guarantee you. Oh, she's definitely listening. Mark, do you think she's going to run for Suffolk DA again, or you think she's done?
Well, Jeff, I mean, I believe she should be disbarred, number one. But do you really think with this that anybody would even vote for her, even a brainwashed liberal democrat? Seriously? I mean, come on, she might as well work for the other side and start defending people, because if she gets to keep her license, that's probably all she's going to be able to do. And to be honest with you, if I broke the law, she's the last person I'd want as my lawyer.
Mark, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. I tell you, she's nuts. I can tell you, she's not. Who does this? You're the district attorney, and you go after some, poor Mark in Medford because he criticizes your meme or calls you a racist. You're a DA. People call you all kinds of names. It's part of the job. Jerry in Tewksbury. Thanks for holding, Jerry, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Jerry.
How you doing? Hey, I just want to tell you, Jeff, I love your show, and I want to tell you what's going to be the outcome of this. She's not going to get this back because she's got too big of a title, and she knows too many people that are no good like her. And I think the outcome of this is she's going to be offered a job as a professor in a college or university. That should be a poll question. I think that's how it's going to run, because all these snakes All these snakes wind up as professors in universities and everything else. And, you know what I mean?
Jerry. Oh, why didn't you call 2.5 hours ago? That would have been the perfect poll question. I think you're right. I didn't even see this. She's gonna be a professor of law, and not only a professor of law, Jerry. You know what her specialty is going to be? Legal ethics. Professor of legal ethics, Rachel Rollins. What do you think? UMass, Harvard, MIT? What do you think, Jerry?
Any one of them, they'll pick her up, give her about like the Indian $350 a year or whatever, you know, and she'll be set for life. Yeah, she don't have to run anything, nothing. Run a track. That's about it. Sure, that's it, Jeff. Put that on as a poll question, brother.
Jerry, phenomenal call. What a call! Thank you for that call, Jerry. 617-266-6868. All right, who do you want me to go to next, Mike? Helen in Framingham. Thanks for holding, Helen, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. This is really serious. I think you're touching on a situation that is before the Massachusetts Supreme Court right now, and that's with regard to the disbarment of 3 dirty assistant attorney generals. It's related to that big drug lab scandal we had many years ago,
yes.
And they purposely withheld exculpatory evidence that would prove the individual was innocent. I mean, tens and tens and tens of thousands of people were incarcerated on no evidence whatsoever. Lie after lie after lie. And I think it's really important because it relates to ADAs, assistant ADAs, assistant AGs, bringing phony cases against people. And I hate to say this, but I think it would be pertinent because the person you're talking about has a lot of friends in a lot of different places. But the person that really could talk about it is the Board of Bar Overseers, Assistant Bar Counsel, who brought the case before the court. And his name is Joe, and his last name is Makallusky. And if you could contact him and maybe have him come on the show and just talk about it, in detail. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't, really go into
Well, you're dead on. No, Helen, look, there's so much corruption, and you're right. This needs to be cleaned up. Very quickly, no, really, do you think I should have Rachel Rollins on? She's probably going to be talking to the media on Friday after she hands in her resignation. And then she wants to go on, I'm not kidding, a charm offensive. That's what she's calling it, to rehabilitate her reputation. Should I have her on? Would you like to see me go toe-to-toe with her again, or am I wasting everybody's time?
No, but if you're going to go like full force like you've been doing all morning, I would not suggest it because definitely there'd be repercussions. So I think it could be a paycheck.
Helen, thank you very much for that call. I love the suggestion some of you are sending in. Jeff, let's start calling her Rachel Rollins. Oh, that'll drive her nuts. Oh, that'll drive her insane. Now, you want to see what a wackadoo she is? Don't be shocked. Friday, out of the blue, we're not setting anything up. Voluntarily on her own, she's going to call in. Don't be shocked if Rachel Rollins calls in. Bye-bye.